So I was in the shower, I was cleaning my ass and making all sure it's all sparkly, spanky clean.
I'm not the funny one, I'm the pretty one.
Cock shots. I just checked myself out.
Candles, music, wine, and then lube up and get on top.
The glory hole's like a big theater. I've imagined your family.
Which means your pants had better come off. Mama needs playtime. I do it.
We're not sluts.
We just love love. Hello, this is Mrs. Adam.
And this is Mr. Adam.
Thanks for joining us again for another episode of By the By.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let's get it on.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get it on. Sorry.
Are you going to keep singing for us?
I don't know the rest of the song. Does anybody really know the rest of that song?
Are we going to have By the By karaoke?
By the Bioki?
Sure, we'll go with that.
Are you saying you don't really care, Ioki?
Oh my god. We started already.
Puntastic.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Yeah. What do we got going on? Oh, upcoming. New Pendulum Party.
May 19th?
May 19th.
Yes.
Be there or be square.
Yes.
Tickets on sale soon if they're not already on sale.
Yes.
We need to
we'll
talk.
we'll post a link on our Twitter feed and website as well, and
Facebooks
it'll be on
and...
Yep, and it'll be on OSS's website, of course. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get that going. It'll be another exciting evening. I really look forward to seeing everyone again that came before. And,
Yeah. And all the newbies that didn't get to go last time.
Yeah, the new people who maybe didn't make it last time. It'll be great to see some new faces.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exciting. So what are we talking about today, Mr. Adam?
Oh, I think we're talking about something that, well, this conversation, I think, honestly started because the last time, or one of the last times we were at Our Secret Spot, someone started talking to us about this. And as soon as they brought it up, I was like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what you're talking about. We have one of those.
Yes.
And they were like, no way. And we're like, yes way. And so we started sharing pictures online of what we're going to be talking about. And that is sex furniture.
Yes. Because who doesn't like some awesome sex furniture? And there's a lot of purpose-built sex furniture out there. There's also a lot of things that you can make and accommodate what you already have at home and use it in different ways.
Yep.
So, yeah, we're going to go through a lot of different sex furnitures, some of which we have, some of which we don't.
Some of which we want.
Yes, very much. But the piece, though, that Mr. Adam is referring to, that we were talking to some folks about, it's the one that we have is from Liberator, and it's called the ESSE. And I know we've mentioned it on here before, but it's a chase lounge, basically.
Yeah, so it's, imagine like a squashed S, or an S on its side where one end of it's squashed, or maybe the letter B. Yeah, it's a letter B.
Yeah.
There's one
end.
This sex brought to you by the letter B.
Yeah, there's one end is a little bit higher than the other on the rounded parts, which is part of what really makes it awesome.
Yeah.
And ours has the D-rings around the bottom.
For bondage.
So there's 8 or 10 D-rings around the bottom. And it came with some very lovely tight Velcro straps that even though you think Velcro, I might be able to get out of it, you can't.
No. These are really high quality, like soft bands that go around the arm, and then that gets Velcroed around, and then it's got these little clips that you can clip into the D-ring.
Yeah.
So the story of this thing is Liberator is a company out of Atlanta, Georgia, and they started, my understanding is they started with the wedge, which we'll talk about here in a bit. But then that took off to such great success that they started making pun, that they started making other pieces of I'll say equipment or furniture. So I think I first saw them in the early 2000s, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'd love to get one of these. And my partner at the time wasn't too keen on it. They are expensive, or they were at the time for us. But I've always sort of kept it in the back of my mind that I'd like to have one of these. And then when she and I split up, the first thing I went and did was go out and research the S and ended up buying an S.
And when Mr. Adams says first thing, he means like within a week or two.
Yeah, honestly, literally. Like she moved out, and then I think that she moved out maybe on a Sunday, and the S was delivered on Thursday.
Yeah.
Because I knew that it was going to be something that was important to me, and beyond that, it's like. So I guess we should say and be completely upfront and open in that this podcast is not sponsored by Liberator. We're getting nothing for saying this, but I look at it and I like the lines of it. I thought it's interesting to look at. It's something that I thought would be both functional for sex and also for just laying around and lounging about, folding clothes and sitting clothes on it. I mean, it is.
Admittedly, there are times where I do just kind of lay on it and rest for a bit.
Yeah.
Because it actually is quite comfortable.
It's comfortable. And that's one of the things I really like about it is it's something that's interesting both and pleasing for the eye, but then it's also fun to play on.
Yeah.
So I get this thing delivered, and then the missus and one of her friends, the three of us went out for drinks, and did we go? Wasn't bowling. We played pool. We went and played pool. And we're talking about it, while we were there, I was saying, I got this piece of furniture. It's really cool. And I think you were excited about it. And your friend was interested in the whole bondage side of it. So we went back to my place, turned on some music, and then you two tied me down and proceeded to torture me for the next 4.5 hours?
I think
4 hours?
It was 4 or 5 hours, yeah. Yeah,
so,
it was awesome.
Yeah. And it was awesome.
Yes. And at the end of it, you're like, somebody sit on me. I have to,
Yeah, I need sex now.
Yes, like someone give it to me.
I'm about to explode.
Yeah, it was fantastic, though.
Yeah. But so one of the things I like about Liberator as well, one of the many things I like about Liberator, is that the equipment, all the covers are all washable. And so their standard cover is a microfiber kind of cover that's soft and fuzzy. But what I got on my version of the S is more of a...
It's like a vinyl, I think.
Like a vinyl, PVC, whatever. And so you just wipe it down. So that's
easy
what I wanted.
Cleanup.
Yeah, easy cleanup. Because, like anything else, it can be difficult to get covers on and off. They do come on and off, but it can be difficult to deal with that.
And some of our smaller ones do have the microfiber covers.
Yeah.
But they're smaller, and it's easier to get off and wash, as opposed to something that's, that large. It's just do the vinyl. It's easier.
I think so, yeah.
And there's other companies out there that make a similar type thing, but...
And some of them are quite expensive.
Yes.
Which also goes back to what I liked about Liberator was... realistically, it wasn't that expensive in the States.
And from time to time, they do sales, and you can get
free shipping.
Free shipping in the States, at least.
Yeah. Sorry, Australia.
Yeah. There are some folks in the Sydney area, at least we've noticed, that have started selling it lately.
Yes.
Saks Fetish does,
sells it.
Max Black does.
Max Black does. I'm guessing that there are other places.
I think there are, and I've seen it online at different places as well. So there are different places. I'm sure it's sold in Europe as well. I'm sure they have distributors, and like I said, there's other companies too.
Yeah.
So you can get it even if you're not in the U.S.
Right. Yeah. And
but what I really like about it though is what you can do with it because of the way it's designed. I mean, the possibilities of positions is almost endless. You can be tied down. You can be laying on it on your back, tied down. And all different ways and positions there, arms up, arms to the side, legs
arms
spread.
Down.
Yeah, arms straight down, legs spread, legs together, all different ways. You can also be bent over the tall end, and I can spank you that way, which is really nice. And also you can be tied in that way you can't move as well.
It's true.
But, I mean, it's great for, guy, girl on top, all different ways. It puts you at different angles because of the way that it kind of curves. Yeah, it moves. The angles of the body work really well. I find it just the perfect height for me when you're on bottom for me to squat over you. I can do squats without getting tired because it's just that perfect height. Yeah,
it's I like it a lot, and we've also used it for pegging. It's one of those things that it's the perfect height for me to the yoga position. I think it's called the something child. the sleeping child. Maybe it's a yoga position where basically your knees are under you and you're stretched. Your arms are stretched out. It's a great position for anal sex because it lines you up to where it's a lot easier for penetration. And it's a great position for that because when I'm in that position, you're standing behind me at the perfect height.
Yeah.
And so I really like it. It's one of those things that if something were to happen, the apartment burns down, it would be one of the first things that we went out to replace because it's something that gets so much use.
Yeah.
For us, we also have a big mirror on one side of it, on one of the short sides of it, and then along the long side we have the wall full of mirrors. So that adds to that sort of visual stimulation as you're playing and having sex or whatever you're doing, that you can look around and see yourself and your partner from different angles.
And the other thing too that I like about it is because you can get different angles. And I like to play, obviously we play with it quite a bit, but I've also had other partners on there. And it's really good for me to be able to either, grind in and get them really deep, or if they're a little bit on the slightly almost too long side, then I can control that movement a lot easier with it because of how I can position them just so that it's comfortable for me, but it's still good for them. And so I find that I have a lot more control as far as, getting things to where it's just comfortable for everybody there.
Yeah. And for me, when I look at if I'm on top of you, if we're doing a sort of a modified missionary on that, I can grab hold of it and use my upper body strength to really kind of grind into you,
right?
Which makes that a little more aggressive, penetrative, grr kind of, and it works. I like it a lot. Yeah. So I know we've played with it with different partners. We've had a few partners over, and it's always funny when you see the first time somebody gets on it. They always have a bit of a
sure what to do with this.
A bit of a what the fuck kind of look. Yeah. And it's interesting because, like, for instance, the last Manticore that we had over, you basically grabbed him and just sort of threw him down on it and then jumped on him. And I think at first he was like, I have no idea what's going on. And then he was like, okay, this thing's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it gives me good leverage, and I can vary my angle, my speed, where I am. I can arrange it very easily and very quickly to where it's very easy G-spot access, which is really kind of awesome and just, of course, adds to everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, and also reverse cowgirl is great because
absolutely.
You've got that bump to kind of lean on. It's
it's hands down.
It's
my
funny.
favorite,
I feel like we're
say.
Gushing, pun intended. But yeah, I agree. It's hands down. I think my favorite toy. If you consider it a sex toy, it's my favorite one that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
I can't
awesome.
really think of too many negatives about it. Really.
If your bedroom's small,
true.
It's not. It's the size of a normal chaise.
Yeah.
So if you can't fit a normal chaise in your bedroom, then
that's true. If you have a smaller room, it can be hard to fit.
Like
in
our
there.
last apartment, we actually had to have it in the guest bedroom, so it was part of the guest bedroom.
Yeah.
And when I say that, I mean it was the guest bedroom.
Yeah.
Our guest bedroom consisted of
it tiny.
and a very small fold-out sofa bed. So when we had guests over, we had to move it into our bedroom, which cramped our bedroom.
Yeah.
So if you don't have the space for it, then it's wah-wah.
That is a negative. It is pretty good sized. That's true.
But yeah.
Which was also awesome when we were moving from our old apartment into this one, and of course, it's furniture, it's not getting boxed up, and the movers come in and they take a look at it and of course can tell very quickly what it's meant for, and they acted as if they didn't want to touch it. It was like, we do clean this thing off.
It's been wiped down. It's been wiped down.
It's okay, but they're just kind of looking at it, looking at us, and it's like, it's fine, just carry it out the door, come on.
But at the same time, then there's also, I think of my dad, who the first time he saw it, he was like, it was at our old house in the States, and it was right next to a big window, and in the bedroom. And it was one of those windows that gets morning sun. So my dad was like, oh my gosh. And he lays on it and he's like, I could lay here on Sunday mornings and read the paper. And he spins around and he's like, or I could read a book in the evening and all this. And my mom and I are standing there looking at it. And I went, do you know? And she goes, oh yes, but he doesn't. And then she giggles wickedly, and I was like, and then she's like, "Come on, honey, let's go have a cup of coffee." My dad's like, okay. And I still don't think he has any idea what that piece of furniture is for.
It's cute.
My poor father.
It's cute.
I am definitely my mother's son.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I really like it. So you know, 2-3 thumbs up for that.
So, and that's when we were talking to the folks the other night. They were looking at a similar thing. It was a different company, I think, that made it.
There's the one they were looking at is I've seen that company as well. It's very, very high end. It's probably 3 to 4 times the cost of the S.
Right.
Because it's leather. It is 100% Italian leather.
Yeah.
Beautiful, handcrafted. It's also exaggerated. So
I think it's a slight bit more, isn't it? Like in height, isn't it just a little bit taller?
Yeah, it's exaggerated.
Yeah.
So it's a little shorter in length, but the surface area is still the same. So it means the back bump is a lot higher, which is awesome because you get much more bend over.
True.
Like for standing doggy, it'd be perfect. Would I like to have that? Sure. Do I want to spend $3,000 on a piece of sex furniture? Maybe in a few years. When we finally burn a hole in the S, then we'll look at replacing it with a fine Italian leather version.
Right.
But yeah, it's what they were looking at is fantastic.
Yeah.
But if you search for sex chaise or something like
you'll
that, you'll find
a number of different things.
Yeah.
Yeah. But definitely highly recommend if you can swing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to the one that Liberator started with, though, the wedge.
Yeah, the wedge.
We have the wedge as well. And that one is so versatile.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's
a simple thing.
Yeah, it's simple and it's discreet. It's basically I'm going to nerd out here for a second. It's a scalene triangle, a scalene triangular solid.
There you go.
So what I mean is it's a basically a triangle with 3 sides that are all different lengths.
It honestly looks like a doorstop. Like a doorstop.
It's a giant doorstop, but it's great because if you lay it flat on its long side, or the hypotenuse, and then you lay on it one way, it puts your ass up. Really, if you lay on it belly, lay on your stomach on it, it puts your ass up at a perfect height. If you spin around or spin it around, it changes the angle of your ass. So it gives that great, different, penetrative, sort of that lazy doggy, you know, where the woman's laying on her stomach, the guy mounts her from behind. I mean, it's this.
Or a guy's laying on his stomach and woman mounts her from behind.
Mounts him
from behind.
Watch your
somebody,
pronouns. But it's that great. Yeah, it's really, it's awesome. And I'll say for guy sex, it's fantastic because what I like to do is lay on my back with it under me, laying again on the long side, the hypotenuse, and curl my legs back because then the guy in front of me kneeling, it's perfect. It's that it makes that penetration a lot easier and a lot more comfortable because I don't have to hold myself up.
Right.
It's I highly recommend.
And then, like, for me, if I'm using it, I can get it under my hips, and it puts my hips up at just a slightly different angle as well, so it can make for easier access for him, especially if it's a taller guy in particular. It can really kind of help with that.
And also for oral in the same position, it puts your, one of the big problems with oral is the person giving can often get a crick in their neck because it's in an awkward angle. But with laying on the wedge, it really kind of delivers you up to where it's much more comfortable, going down on you.
Yeah.
So it's, and again, that was what they're kind of known for. That was their first big piece that they did. And that one's seen a lot of action. So the one we have has got the fuzzy cover. It wipes off really easily. It
does, and I do take it off and wash it.
Yeah, but you have to take it off, hand wash it occasionally, and stuff it back in.
Or delicate cycle in the washing machine.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. That's your domain.
Yes. Delicate cycle, line dry.
Yeah.
There you go. Easy peasy. And then another one that we have, I think this is probably the last one from Liberator itself that we have. Oh, no, it's not. I'm being told. Okay. Well, this is...
No, I've been told. It's coming in from the from the console that I am incorrect.
I'm incorrect. Well, one of the other ones, anyway, that we have from Liberator, they call it the Pulse. I call it my comma because it honestly looks like a big comma.
That's right.
But they call it the Pulse. But it basically... It does look like a big comma, and it's made for like a female mounting, and so it's got two pockets. It's got one little pocket kind of in the front curve of the comma part where you can put a small little vibrator in it, and then there's this big hole in the main part of it, the main curve of that comma, where you can put a dildo or vibrator or something like that in there. And I like to do it. I've had rabbits in there, I've had the wand in there, I've had just plain dildos in there, all kinds of different things like that. But it has this nice rocking motion, and so, playing by myself, you get that kind of that normal rocking motion of sex. It's not just, it's not a static thing.
Right, yeah.
And it's easy to straddle cowgirl. It's really good for that. I know early on when we were dating, I took a picture where I was riding it. And I think I had, I don't know, a dildo or something in my ass as well, and sent that to you, and that was...
It was hot double penetration.
It was really easy to do with that, which is one of the things that I really like about it. And like I said, you can put all kinds of different toys depending on what you're doing. You can use it with a partner. I always tended to use it more when you were traveling on my own.
Yeah. Do you still find yourself using it? Is it something...
I do, but again, when you're gone, more so. But admittedly, it does kind of give that same, that I like the way that it does do the rocking motion, and I know I've said that. But it also, one of the things early on, which, now it's not really too much of an issue, but because it is easy to straddle cowgirl and it's easy to squat over, it's a nice way to get used to that squatting motion if you're not so much. Because I like to do that with partners.
Yeah.
But if your legs aren't strong enough, if you're not used to that motion, it's a good way to practice that as well. And have a little bit of fun while you're at it. Because why not mix sex with your
it's
workout,
exercise.
Yeah,
it's sexercise.
Exactly.
You're sexercising.
Exactly.
That's fantastic.
So.
I love it. Yeah, it's... I think that's one we need to get out and play with a little more together. Because we played with it in the beginning. Just I basically watched you play with it. It wasn't like we did it together. But yeah.
It'd be interesting to see... for you to play with it and see what it can do for you. Yeah.
So, one of the things I like, again, touting Liberator, one of the things I like about the company is that when you're looking at their equipment online, they give you suggestions on how you might use it. And I think that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
And I was actually just looking at some of the suggestions for it, and I was like, oh, that looks fun. Oh, all right, that looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
Perhaps we should try that. So
let's break it out.
Well, it's really interesting to how having a place to put your weight will change how sex actually is.
Yes.
We're all so used to having sex in a bed, or at least on a flat surface, bed, couch, something like that, that if you have something that's not flat to put your weight on, it really changes where the pressure points are and where you can focus on the pleasure. And that's one of the things that I like about the sex furniture, is that it does allow you to do that. You can try something maybe completely different. And if you have a disability or have a weakness, like what you were just describing, a weakness straddling and whatnot, it allows you to build those muscles and perhaps, again, take pressure off of certain things, and allow you to experience a different feeling during sex.
And that's an interesting point that you just brought up about disabilities, because a lot of the different things, like even the wedge and the pulse in particular, because I was just thinking if I spun the pulse around from how I normally use it, it was actually a good way as well to kind of sit into it.
Yeah.
And to not, so that would take a little bit more of your weight off. So if you have a disability, you can use some of these toys, and especially the smaller pieces may help to kind of maneuver you and support you in a way that will allow you to then be able to play a little differently and help things there. But
either easier access to your genitalia, or easier access for someone, or for you to get to someone else.
Yeah.
And take that pressure off of certain points.
And allow you to be
of your
more
body.
comfortable as well.
Allow you to be comfortable
Yeah.
and focus on the pleasure rather than the how the fuck am I going to do this?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like the comment. We need to get it out. And so it's got 2 pockets, right?
Right. It has a small little kind of pocket on
Like for
the
a bullet.
Yeah, like more for a bullet type thing on the big fat end of the comma, on the inside of the fat end. And then just below that, as it curves downward, is where the hole is, where you put like a dildo or vibrator or something inside of there.
Gotcha.
So yeah, like I said, I've had just a regular kind of vibrating dildo in there. I've put the rabbit in there before. The wand is good, especially with some of the attachments for that.
Cool.
But yeah, it's really versatile, and I do quite like it. It's almost, and I think Liberator has one as well that's kind of a dome shape that looks more like a Sibian.
Yeah.
But to me, this one's a little bit more like a comfortable, I'm going to say a comfortable poor man's Sibian type thing, because you can put
Yeah.
your own toy into it and do what you want, but it does have a lot of other uses, and I don't know, I just think it's a little more comfortable. So
Cool. Yeah.
yeah.
So the other actual Liberator product that we have is the fleshlight
Oh
holder.
yes, of course.
So it's I think it's the fleshlight on a mission is what the piece is actually called, and it's basically I would call it a rectangular solid or a shoebox size with one top corner kind of shaved off. And then where that corner shaved off, there's a giant hole where you could put your fleshlight, which we'll talk about fleshlights here in a second. That'll be a kind of a subsidiary. But so the idea is that you basically put the fleshlight in, and then you can mount it doggy style, or in what would be doggy style. I absolutely love the thing. Now, I admit I don't play with it often. I don't play with the fleshlight extremely often, but when I do, I really like this thing. And there's been a few times where we'll do it with you.
Yeah,
and, you know,
we've played with it together.
The 3 of us, the 2 of us in the fleshlight. You know, the 3 of us.
What's the fleshlight's name?
Fleshy McFleshlight. Flesherita. But, you know, the 2 of us will play with it, and it is kind of an interesting thing that it does sort of simulate that threesome feel.
Yeah.
Because I know one of the things that is suggested is, you know, I can be on the fleshlight, again, kind of on all fours, going down on you while I'm fucking the flashlight. Fleshlight, not flashlight, the fleshlight. And it does sort of give that sort of, for me, that mental threesome of me having sex with something while still going down on interacting with you. It's an interesting kind of mental game. But yeah, I really like it. It's a lot of fun. It's also that sort of vinyl that's easy to clean, and which is important because it can be messy.
Yep. Imagine that.
Imagine that. You know, but we've talked about this before. I think that if you're using a male masturbator, if you have a condom on it, it makes cleanup so much.
Yeah.
If you have a condom while you're using it on
yeah.
you, it makes cleanup so much easier.
That's genius, actually.
So
yeah.
That's called laziness, but I'll take genius.
No, it is really smart, though. Because, I mean, you want easy cleanup. Who wants to spend a lot of time cleaning up after themselves?
It's so much work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So a quick little side note on fleshlights. So I have used a lot of masturbators, male masturbating sleeves. Fleshlight is probably still my favorite feel-wise. I like it a lot. I still say it's kind of hard to clean. It's a bit cumbersome, and it loses its soft, powdery feel pretty quickly.
Okay.
On the second or third washing, it loses that feel. It becomes almost sticky.
Is there a way to get that back?
Yes, they sell a powder that you
Okay.
can re-powder it, and I think it's just sort of a
Is it like
special
a talcum
talc.
powder?
Yeah, it's a special talcum powder that dries it out and keeps it nice and dry and fresh. But that just seems like so much effort. And
Well, how much work do you think real vaginas are? Come on. Now you get a little taste of it.
but that's the point of a sleeve. You don't want to have to deal with.
You don't want to have to coddle it.
I don't want to have to coddle it. I don't have to. I don't have to wake up the next morning and make an omelet for it. God. I just want to fuck it and go. If I could put it in the dishwasher, it'd be awesome. I'm suddenly thinking of Archer. It's like, what is this in the sink? Yeah, so it's I like it. I will say I absolutely like it. Is it worth the money? Absolutely. They've got a new add-on now that
looks kind of awesome.
That looks awesome. That it moves the fleshlight itself. Yeah. I think you can sync it with porn, and it will move at the same rate as whatever's going on in the porn.
Which is awesome for, I would say, most of us, but especially if you have disability, that could be fantastic.
Again, it's a game changer. You just all you have to have is it on your lap, and it moves it for you, and it's fantastic.
I think it'd be fun to play with.
Absolutely, I wouldn't mind getting it. It's a little pricey right now, but
at some point,
we'll definitely look at getting it.
Put it on the Christmas list.
Absolutely.
See if Santa likes you that much.
Come here, Santa. I'll be a ho ho ho. But yeah, I would. Anybody who's looking at getting some sort of masturbation sleeve, I would say don't go cheap. Go ahead and spend a little bit extra money. I've had the fleshlight now for 4 years, maybe. I think I've had
longer
that one
than I've known you.
Okay, so probably 5 then years.
Yeah.
Because it was another one that I bought right after my
just
first
probably been 5
wife
years.
and I split up. Yeah, so, and I absolutely, I still, it's in great condition. It probably gets used maybe once a month to once every 6 weeks. I'll break it out.
Was it more at the beginning?
It was more at the beginning, definitely.
Before we were together?
Before you and I started seeing each other regularly, it was probably a once every 3 or 4 days kind of thing. Because it's different, you know. It's funny because you look at what masturbation is. You'd be like, oh, it's just masturbation. But having that variance of what it feels like makes it completely different, which I imagine for you would be different toys. You know, one day you go for one toy, one day you go for another toy. It's just that different is good.
You want to mix it up a little. You don't want to have the same old all the time.
It's really interesting. Now that I think about it, I wonder if people who are in strictly monogamous relationships, do they always masturbate in the same way as well?
I think everyone has a tendency to have the same general techniques and patterns, but I'm actually, and I don't know that, I don't know, be curious. We'll have to hear from listeners. So let us know out there in listener land how it is for you. But I am quite cognizant about mixing it up. And especially one of the things that I've been playing with, I would say over the past 6 months or so with some of my toys, is because I do come very quickly and easily, I've been trying to tease myself more and draw that out. And I found
going from 35 seconds to 47.
But with some of my toys, you know, I'll play with the different pulse patterns and vibration patterns and things, because some of them before I was like, oh, I don't really like that one, but I don't like it because it draws it out longer for me. And so I've been trying to play with different ones like that. And even when I play with myself, I try to, you know, find ways to kind of quote unquote tease myself. And so I try to mix it up a little bit, but at the same time, if you just want quick and dirty, get it done, then there's a good old standard, this is how it always works kind of thing. But that is curious about people in monogamous relationships, but if they always do it the same or not.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So it's funny you say that, talking about changing it up and, you know, trying to make it last longer. So for me, with any kind of insertable butt plug, I always go basically 0, then 1, then 11. And it's like, I don't like...
You don't like the tease.
Don't give me that tease. I don't, you know, but don't get me wrong. I don't go straight to 11 and then it's done within 10 seconds. Give me 11 for like minutes, 5, 6, 7 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, and there's been a few times where, you know, I'll put in Jeju butt plug that has one of the strongest vibrations I've ever felt on the inside. And I'll set it to 10 and then just leave it in for 30, 40 minutes at 10.
Wow.
I mean, it's almost excruciating by the end, but I love it.
I can't imagine, yeah.
Like, don't tease me. I just give it to me hard.
Wow.
I know, right? I just went there. Yeah. But yeah, so highly recommend Fleshlight for guys. It's also something that you can play with as a couple. You know, you fleshlighted me.
Yeah.
Fleshlit me?
I have.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know what no idea how to verb that. But yeah.
So one of the other ones that we have, and I don't really know what to call this necessarily, but it's like a harness strap thing. So we use it, if you're doggy behind me, you kind of hook it around to the front of my hips and use it to kind of pull me in and pull me upwards and, again, get me at a slightly different angle. And then you have the control.
Yeah,
which we don't use this one too often because it's not often that you're enough to do it. But it does kind of, you do use it to kind of pull me and control me a little bit more that way, my hips and the movement of my hips.
Yeah, it's interesting because that allows me, typically, when you're doggy, when I pull out, you stay still.
Yeah.
So in this one, as I pull out, I'm also pulling you with me. So it's like I'm making the motion of pulling out without actually pulling out, which is kind of interesting because rather than getting that outside in, it's more just a pressured rub on your inside you, whatever's the P spot, I guess, for you. It's interesting. I like it. We don't use it very often, just because I don't know. It's one that would probably trickle down the list of it's fun to play with, but it's not something that's
very much an occasional one. Yeah. It's not a go-to piece. Basically,
I often forget we have it, to be honest, because usually by the time that we're playing, it's one that I wouldn't go out and find. If we're mid-sex, like, hey, let's use this. If it's out, then if we started with it out on the bed, then absolutely. But it's not one that I'd be like, oh, let's go get the waist bit. I don't know what you call it.
I don't know, harness strap thing.
Yeah, the strappy harness thing.
I don't know what to call it. I'm sure it has a name.
Yeah.
So the next thing that we don't have any of, and there's a whole variety of this out there, and admittedly, the only reason I was really thinking about this category was because of the couple we were talking to about the chases. They mentioned there were some chases like this, and it's inflatable furniture.
Yep.
They were talking about inflatable chases, wedges, different chairs, that type of thing. And now, I've never used inflatable furniture. Have you?
Yes, I've sat in it, like outdoor furniture.
Right, but sex furniture.
No inflatable sex furniture.
I'm a little skeptical of how that would work.
I would be quite concerned.
About comfort, slippage, angles, positions, just
comfort,
stability.
Comfort and support would be my two big things.
Yeah.
My other big thing would be stability. You think about it, what did we hear? Like if you were to just sit down heavily onto a couch, you hit that couch at 10 Gs.
Yeah. For that moment.
For that instant you hit the couch, that's 10 Gs. Now, if the two of us are fucking on something, we got to be pulling at least 10 Gs with each thrust.
Yeah.
Because we're throwing throwing ourselves into each other. I'd be concerned about the seams. I've sat on inflatable chairs, like outdoor chairs, and I've always been concerned about the seams just sitting down on it. I'd be
curious to hear if anybody out there, if any of our listeners have used inflatable sex furniture, by all means send us a message. Let us know what you think. Because it's something that we've not ever done. But I'd be definitely curious to get opinions and thoughts on it. Because there's a lot out there. So, people are buying it, people are using it. Maybe it is, better than what we realize.
The benefit I do see is discretion.
True.
If you have kids or you have family over often,
space issues,
or if you have space issues, it's something that you can, once you're done playing with it, you deflate it, you put it under your mattress, you put it under your bed, you stuff it up in the closet, and nobody's ever going to know you have it.
True, very true.
So it does give you that discretion of, it's you can easily hide it away.
Yeah.
Because if you were to look in the top of our closet, all you see is suitcases and sex toys. And it's impossible to hide that.
Yeah, that's true.
It would give you that. As a side, I know Liberator has a pillow that has a nice big bow on it, but its whole point is that it's actually a storage device for sex toys. So it's a decorative pillow for your bed. You stuff sex toys in it, and then you don't have to worry about your drawers or under your mattress or whatnot.
Right.
It's all your sex toys are in a little pillow.
Interesting.
Unfortunately, for us to have all of our sex toys in a pillow,
we would need 10 pillows.
We would need a new mattress because it would be actually a mattress that we stuff all of our sex toys in. So we'd have to have a third bedroom.
Yeah.
But that's just anyway.
We'll just keep the setup we have.
Something else that we don't have that we would love to get.
Oh my God, yes.
And I know Wine and Fun Times has one. Is a swing. So theirs, I think, is actually into their ceiling, one of the ceiling joists. It's an eye hook, or whatever you call it, whatever. And then you hook it in, and then it swings right there in the bedroom.
And there are different kinds, because there's the over-the-door ones.
Yeah, the door jam one.
I've seen the spinning ones. There are some that have the big freestanding frame.
Yep. Talk about discretion.
Oh, yeah.
What's that freestanding frame there for? Sex swing? Cool. That's something I would love to try.
Oh,
We've
sure.
had sex in a sex swing once at Couples Club, actually. And I enjoyed that. I've actually bottomed for Blue Steel in a sex swing in one of the saunas. Hi, Blue Steel. And that was awesome. That was great.
Yeah, I would love to have a swing. I think that would be really fantastic. I don't think it would be something we would use, like, I'm going to say often, regularly, as in, probably not every couple days, but I would say once a week or so.
I'd say
easy.
once a week to once every 10 days I can see us using it, if it was easy access.
Right. It would have to be easy access,
Yeah.
But I very much enjoyed the swing when we did it before, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to have one. One day.
Someday our swing will come.
Let's see, we've already talked about pillows.
So one thing I will say about pillows is, if you don't want to go to Liberator and buy a wedge or something, it's very easy to do this at home, to play with it with pillows.
Yeah.
So, if you're in missionary position, a great thing to do is to have your partner lift his or her ass up and slide a nice firm pillow, not something that's flat or too soft, but to slide a nice firm pillow,
especially like a memory foam pillow or something.
Yeah, exactly, under their ass. It changes your angle. For women, you're much more likely to hit their G-spot in missionary position if you're at that angle, because unless your cock is curved up pretty significantly, it's very easy to miss their G-spot. So by lifting the ass up, you make their G-spot a lot more approachable to really most penis shapes. And that's something that you can do if you have a flat pillow, roll it and fold it in half, put it under them. You're just trying to get the ass up at a different angle.
Right.
For doggy style, again, roll the pillow up and let them lay over it. You take some of the pressure off the knees, some of the pressure off the shoulders.
Ergonomic sex, it's important.
Yeah, it is, because we're all none of us are getting any younger.
Yeah.
And so the more you focus on comfort and health benefits now, the better it's going to be as you age.
Yep.
But yeah, that's definitely something you can do. And then the other thing it's kind of fun to do is use. This is gonna sound horrific, but use the pillows in your guest bed, and then you'll know that as your guests lay down on those pillows at night, you fucked on their pillows.
That's awesome.
Yeah, take that, mother-in-law.
You might want to wash the covers first, though. But
you might not. Take that, mother-in-law. Mother-in-law, mother-in-law, mother-in-law. You've heard that song, right?
No.
Are you serious?
No.
We're going to have to hit Spotify once this podcast is done.
I don't know this one.
It's a great song.
Sorry.
Yes, if you haven't heard Mother-in-Law, go Spotify. It's great.
All right. We'll do that.
Anyway.
The other thing, if you're talking about, just stuff you normally have, is, we all have a bed, right? And you can totally turn your bed into sex furniture by adding restraints. And if you want, you can get some of the polyurethane, the wet sheets.
Yep.
And that's always fun, both to add a different texture. It's great for massage, lube, if you do the Nuru stuff.
Into water sports.
Yeah, if you do water sports, the wet sheets are fun. And then restraints.
If you're a squirter.
Yeah, absolutely. But then if you have the restraints, there's the ones that go under the mattress and then up and around if you don't have posts or anything to hook onto. And those are discreet as well, because they just kind of can tuck back up under. And
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to go out and buy these restraints that are purpose made for that, all you have to do is go find yourself a nice soft cotton rope or shibari rope or something, tie a couple of loops in each end, stretch it under the bed, and just have your partner put their hands through the loops and then hold on to the rope. So then they're pulling and pulling and pulling, but if they feel they have to get out, all they have to do is let go of the rope and their hands will slip right through the loops. So it's sort of that bondage light. It's that easy intro into something to bondage. That's a little harder to do for the ankles. You can do the ankles that way. It's a little harder to get out of them. But as long as you don't do a slip knot, as long as it's a actual loop tied in the rope and not a slip knot, it's easier for your partner to get out of it. So it gives them again, it's that feeling of being restrained, but also knowing that if you had to get out of it, it wouldn't be too difficult to get out of it.
Yeah. So one thing as well that I've seen, and I've never really played with or anything, but I'm gonna say it's a sex chair, but it looks more like a footstool frame and with two elastic straps going through, and so it's good for like squatting, especially if you're squatting over something like the comma or the Sibian or whatnot, because again it takes some of the weight as well.
Yep.
So I've seen that but never played with that, and I see benefits because it would take some of the weight. But I also think you'd be more limited in the positions with that.
So another thing, if it's the one I'm thinking of, you're talking. It's like a stool, but it's open at the bottom, right? So it's a queening stool. So the idea is that the lady will sit on it, and then the guy or gal can lay under it, and very easily access, for them face sitting.
And you could do oral and whatnot as well.
Also good for guys to play with. If the guy sits on it, the woman or their partner, I should say, not necessarily a woman, has easy access to ass, taint, balls, and then also for analingus, it's fantastic. I've known a partner who had one of those, but didn't actually use it.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, they had it, so it must be decent.
Yeah, true. Yeah. And I've seen, it's interesting because I remember when we were looking at beds, there's a company in the UK that does really fantastic bondage beds.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Amazing. And one of them, the headboard actually had a built-in queening stool. So in the headboard, it would open up the slide and it would fold out.
Oh, that's kind of awesome.
Yeah, and then so you could sit on the headboard basically, and I would lay under you. It's just like, it's fucking genius.
That's awesome.
It was expensive. It was, unfortunately, the bed itself wasn't that expensive. Shipping it to Australia was
prohibitively expensive.
More expensive than the bed itself, so that's why we didn't get that. But it's, there's a lot of options out there. You just have to either look for it or be a little creative.
Yeah.
There's something nice about sex on the couch. Just sex on the couch can be different. And I know you and I have done it a number of times where, you kneel facing away from me on the couch, facing what would be, I guess, the wall, or for us, it's, it's kind of out in the open, and then me standing behind you. It's just, again, it's that moving sex from outside the bedroom, or I guess I should say outside the bed.
Right. And mix it up, try something different.
Yeah. And it's kind of cool to know that you've had sex on the table, and every time you have a dinner party, everybody sits down at the table. There's that dirty little secret between you and your partner and the kitchen table. It's fun. Yeah. There's something good about that.
Yeah. And then there's one more, like the Mac Daddy of all sex furnitures.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this one.
Yeah. The Sibian.
The Sibian.
And I say Mac Daddy because of how much power it puts out.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
It's like a 4-stroke engine.
Now, I was going to say, you don't get the variety of positions that you do with, like, the Chase lounges.
No.
However, it's pretty amazing. Yeah. Because it has all the different attachments and different sizes and ways that you can use it. It rotates, it vibrates, and it is both loud, but incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
And really kind of amazing.
It's pretty intense.
And the Sibian itself is expensive if you buy it. I know you can rent them in most places. You can most cities you can find a place to rent them from. In Sydney, I know our Secret Spot rents them. I don't know where else does.
Does anywhere else matter?
I don't know. To some people, maybe. But it is really nice to rent because you can take it home. You can, like at OSS, you can use it there, but for the same price, you can take it home and have it for the entire night instead of an hour.
Yeah.
And that's what I would do because then you can go back to it over and over and over again. You can play with it different ways, use all the attachments. And like I said, if you want to buy it, I think at least in Australia, they're like $2,500, $3,000. They're pretty expensive.
I think it's about $2,000 to $2,500, I
maybe?
think. But it depends on the number of
I guess the
fixins,
attachments and things.
all the fixins you get with it.
Yeah. I don't know what they are in the U.S. or in Europe, but yeah, it is, again, if you want to just try it out, rent it. It's not terrible to rent it. But it is absolutely amazing. I would say for guy, girl, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we both used it, and it was pretty intense.
Yes.
And they have all different shapes and sizes of penetrative toys for both men and women.
Yes. Yeah.
It's intense.
Yeah, that one's got a lot of power behind it there.
Yeah, I think everybody should try it once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And take your and another reason why I would say rent it for the night instead of just a short time is because you want to take time and try different attachments, because some of them you might not like at all, some might be okay, and then at some point you'll find one that you're like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Well, I think the ones at OSS Rents have 9 to 11 attachments.
There's a lot of different attachments, and it takes time to go through all that. So you don't want to rush it. You want to be able to be like, okay, I'm going to try this one, and yes, no,
and each attachment you've got 0 to 10 on the vibration and 0 to 10 on rotation. Yeah, so it's not something that you tread into lightly.
Yeah, don't rush it. Take your time.
Yeah, grab a bottle of wine, grab some lube.
Yeah.
Yeah, grab and hold on.
Yeah, so that is an amazing piece of furniture as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a lot of the different ones that we've played with, we've seen out there. I mean, I'm sure there's a whole variety more, because anything somebody can imagine has probably been done. But
and if it's not, slap a trademark on that, patent it, and let's go.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
So that's all I've got on sex furniture. Do you have anything else?
No.
Yeah. Do we have a question?
We do have a question this week. So this one came in. It was on a Facebook message we had. So we do have some Facebook followers out there.
Yay!
But this person wanted to know what area, I'm going to start with one, of the body excites you the most besides the nether regions.
Like mine own areas or someone else's areas?
Your areas. Like what gets you going the most? Some people, it might be like ear, neck. What is it that when somebody goes there and they touch you just right, or they nibble or blow, like what is it that gets you really going?
Okay. So for me, it really depends, of course.
All right.
So I'm a kissing guy. So that would be just lips on lips, kissing. That's important. I would say that's probably the most. I'm a neck and throat guy as well. So, but more for guys. If a guy's kissing on my neck or throat and up to my ear,
is it because you feel the scruff?
Yeah, it's the scruff. I really like that scruff. That really does it for me. If a lady does it, oftentimes I find it ticklish.
Right.
And I don't like that.
Because we don't have the scruff.
Yeah, it's too soft.
Interesting.
But with guys, it's rough enough that I'm like, oh, yeah, I like it.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess women, I like the ear nibbling. Like, I like that. If someone bites and nibbles on my ear. I've had a few women who, like, really suck on the earlobe, and I like that. That's great. So probably that. Okay. How about you?
So for me, I'm going to go secondarily to kissing. To me, I kind of think that's a bit of a given. Maybe not always.
Me too. Yeah, I agree.
But secondary to that, I would say nipples for sure. I really like nipple play. And sometimes if somebody gets the back or side of the neck just right, you have to get that right pressure. It's really hard for me. But if you get it just right, I get just chills and tingles all down my body. But I would say go-to is for sure the nipples.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to practice on the back of your neck, apparently.
Yeah, it's hard, but it can happen.
That's awesome.
And when it does, it's great.
Show me twice. I'll be able to do it again.
Okay. All right.
If at first I don't succeed, I'll try again.
Exactly.
Awesome. Good question.
Yeah.
I like that. Thanks.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah, so I guess that's it. We'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
As always, more questions. If you've got them, send them to us. You can direct message us on our Twitter feed. Our Twitter feed is @ByTheByPodcast. or like this one came in through das Facebook. We are www.facebook.com/bytheby podcast. Our website is www.bytheby.com.au, and you can email us at on Gmail at theatomsoflove@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Ooh. Don't forget, we have a pendulum party coming up May 19th. I'm excited. Yeah, and so also everybody who knows that we do the Sex Ed in the City, you can find out more about that at www.sexedinthecity.com. There's an events page, a calendar page, whatever, that we are posting places we're going to be. So if there's a party at
Different events or parties.
At our secret spot we'll be at, or maybe it's a Hellfire thing that we're going to be at, or a Sexpo thing or whatnot, we'll post it on there, and you can see where you can find and meet us, Mischief, and etc. Not all of them are pay events, so it's even like some of the meet and mingles that we'll be at. So yeah.
Excellent.
Cool.
Yeah. Thanks for listening in.
Yeah. Thanks, and we'll talk to y'all soon.